Duluth is a wonderful city. I absolutely love living here. At the same time, I think we could improve drastically in how we treat one another and how we actually love one another. Jesus' command to love one another fits in perfectly here, because that's how we're really supposed to be interacting with each other.
To love God and then to literally love our neighbor. And I think sometimes we can think about that in a kind of a global context, like how do we change the world? But I think what's really cool about this is it's organic enough where I start changing the world by crossing the street. I start changing the world by getting to know the person over my fence or in the apartment next to me.
When Jesus was approached and he was asked, what's the most important commandment? He said that there are two. And the one is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and your soul and your might. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And that's the essence of all of the gospel. It's the essence of all of the Bible.
A group of pastors began to meet together to talk about what it would look like to work together in unity, to kind of have our churches participate with one another in making a very positive and influence in our community.
When we got to this idea in particular of neighboring, it was, I think for me and I think for a number of us, it was one of those God moments where there wasn't a whole lot of, I need to think about this. It was a whole lot of, oh my goodness, yes, this is it.
So originally it was a group of 6 to 8 pastors who got together and we were praying and thinking about this. Then one of the next steps that we took was we called up our mayor and we sent him some of our ideas, and then eventually we got together and had a little talk with him and just said, what do you think of this idea?
Loving your neighbor is kind of looking beyond any sort of differences that you may have, and loving the person versus those annoyances or those things that divide us, or the property lines, or these other issues. And when you come to a relationship just saying, I want to respect you and I want to love you just as a person, and then setting aside all the things that may otherwise divide us, let's find those commonalities. And living in the same neighborhood and experiencing some of those things is a great commonality to start from.
We can get caught up in a lot of theories about who is my neighbor and what is my ministry and where is my sphere of influence, but here's the deal. Every day I come home to the same place. Geographically, I've got needs that are I don't even have to get my car to get to. They're right there. And so my neighbor starts with those that are right in my path. And man, that's my neighbor.
Eventually, we invited all the pastors in Duluth to come to City Hall. And the mayor shared some thoughts, we as pastors shared some thoughts, and today we have about 43 churches involved in participating in this with us, where what we want to do is for 3 or so weeks in September, just really teach our people what does it mean to take Jesus' second commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself, literally. How do you actually build significant relationships with the people who live the closest to you?
Because it's such a universal message, and that each church and each faith community can kind of take the message and find ways to connect with the people in their church, and find ways that in ways that feel authentic and real to them, to make it happen in their own neighborhoods. And so it's not a one-size-fits-all, you have to do it this way sort of message. It's love your neighbor and find the way that feels right to you, and then go out and apply that. And I do think that once people start practicing that, and they'll see the power and they'll see how cool it is to learn and make these connections and build those relationships, and then start to problem solve around whatever's happening in their neighborhood, I think it could really catch on and make a significant difference in the quality of life and the quality of our community.